group of some pixels, and mean of the pixel will be used to measure the others pixel, that will be the what is the coming under the minimum distance, that will be included in the class. So that is the main funda of the ISO data classification. And these are the two process. Every time it runs some iteration process, and during you can see the ISO data first pass. So in the first process that will run in this way, and in the second process the line will be this way, in the diagonal line will come, and the mean, here you can see the pixel mean is there, and based on that the pixel mean is shifting from here to here. So every time it run the iteration process, and based on the pixel mean it grouping the pixel. So when you will go for when your classification or imagery area is in a larger form, then you will go for the ISO data classification. Now I will come to the supervised classification. So supervised mean we have some knowledge about the study area, and we know the ground features of the study area, that these parts are coming from the vegetation land, and these are the soil types, land use, vegetation. So here supervised training required. So prior or before to coming to the supervised classification, we have to generate some classification spectral signature, and that will be used training the data. These pixels are this, and these pixels are the soil, and these pixels are representing the others ground features. So once you have generated the land use, land cover type, you have the signature and you have some pixel information that will be used for the classification technique. That means we rely on our own pattern. Basically we are depend upon our own pattern. That means my knowledge is there, that I have a satellite imagery, that I know that these parts are representing this type of feature. So in this case we will be used our knowledge to identify the land cover, whether it is a soil, vegetation, and whatever are there you can identify. So basic जो दोनों के बीच में जो आपका कंपैरिजन है कि सुपरवाइज्ड में हम लोगों को खुद को मतलब ट्रेन करके देना होगा सॉफ्टवेयर को, बेस्ड ऑन योर नॉलेज सॉफ्टवेयर विल परफॉर्म द क्लासिफिकेशन टेक्निक्स, एंड अनसुपरवाइज्ड में क्या है कि आप नंबर ऑफ क्लासेस दे दीजिए, वो अपने आप करेंगे उसमें। बट क्या है कि उसमें क्या है कि पोस्ट प्रोसेस में आपको फिर आइडेंटिफाई करना होगा उस प्रोसेस को। सो फॉर दिस पर्पस यू हैव टू गो फॉर ground data collection, that is ground truth collection. So you have to reach there and you have to identify that number of classes, you have taken the some lat long values of these classes, and you will go to there with your handheld GPS or DGPS, and you will be identifying that this pixel exactly what is this pixel in the ground. So based on your information again we will come to the lab and we will rectify the image for the final product development. Suppose your image using this supervised classification you have classified 36 class, okay, and some classes are you don't know what the features are representing by these pixel values. So you have given some land cover like grassland are coming under the vegetation. So that time you will be able to identify that these pixels are not the grassland, actually these are the vegetation cover. So using this ground truth point you will be able to correct your final product. Now we have to collect the training data for the supervised classification. Here we have in ADAS Imagine there are facilities, there are 5 facilities are there. Using a vector layer you can collect the training points, otherwise define a polygon in the image, identify a training sample of contiguous pixel with a similar spectral characteristic, and again pixel within a certain area with or without similar spectral characteristic, and finally using a class from a thematic raster. Suppose we have a thematic raster file of this study area and you want to classify the image, then you can also get the reference of this raster layer. So we can able to give some inputs from the raster layer to the unsupervised classification techniques, and based on this raster layer the image will be processed and the final land use land cover will be prepared. So that is the whole process. We have the raw data, then we will go for the signature collection and then signature evaluation, okay, and then we will perform the classification, and finally you will get this type of map that will representing that this is the water. I will give the blue color, and if you have vegetation then I will go for the green color. We have the different color codes for the different type of ground features. So these are the techniques we will be demonstrating during the software demonstration in ADAS Imagine. Now I am coming to the decisions rules. Now we have the training points and we have the inputs of the training points, but we have to select some decision rules. So software able to perform the classification process. Here again we have some parametric and non-parametric rules. Non-parametric means you have not associated with the statistical techniques. So that the data will be collected without any statistical, and classification will be run without any statistical correlation or relation. So here that is the non-parametric. So non-parametric signature is based on a AOI, that area of interest, that we define the feature space image for the image file being classified. And parametric signature is based on the statistical parameters. So whatever the signature we will collect, and that have some mean, median and the standard deviation values. So we have the mean and covariance matrix of this pixel, and that are in the training sample or cluster. So number of bands in the input image and the minimum and maximum data file value in each band for each sample cluster, based on this information that will be assessed, and that will generate some statistical data, and based on this statistical data it will able to perform the grouping the pixels. So finally we can generate a land use or land cover map. Now in ADAS Imagine, if you go through the ADAS Imagine, there are two type of parametrics, two type of non-parametric rules and 5 types of parametric rules. These are the algorithm that will be used for the classification. So one is parallel piped and another is feature space. Those are non-parametric, and under the parametric rules there are minimum distance, then Mohalanovis distance, and the maximum likelihood, which is very much popular. Always we are using for the classification maximum likelihood, and then our modern techniques are coming. These are spectral angle mapper and the spectral correlation mapper. So what are these? So in the parallel pipe you can see this type of rectangle. Here in the left side image you can see that this type of rectangle will be generated to grouping the pixels. But in the feature space they are different type of, you can see that these features are grouping in a different way. So basically the parallel pipe use the rectangle shapes, and these data file values of the candidate pixel are compared the upper and lower limits, but it has some limitation. Suppose some pixel will come to here. So the limitation is that it will also include this pixel, because of this the rectangle shape. It may be the mean distance may be very high, but it will also able to, using this technique it will be included. So here you can see that in the feature space shape is generated only based on the pixel edge to grouping this pixel. So main funda is that feature space decision rules determines whether or not a candidate pixel lies within the non-parametric signature in the feature space or image. That is the main rules for the feature space. ये क्या करते हैं कि कोई भी अगर पिक्सल्स है वो उस ग्रुप में आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है उसका खोज जारी रखता है. इसमें क्या है, इसमें जो भी पिक्सल रेक्टेंगल शेप में ग्रुपिंग में आता है मीन वैल्यूज के साथ वो इसको क्लासिफाई कर लेते हैं. तो दिस पिक्सल आर कमिंग अंडर ए क्लास and in this way you can see that there are 3, but these pixel are not coming any classes, so this pixel will be the unclassified. So again you have to go through some ground reference, and based on this you will given some input to the software, and this unclassified pixel also need to be classified in the after the ground truth collection. Feature space, this figure. Parallel pipe generally use the rectangle shape for grouping the pixel, and here the features based on the pixel distribution the shape will be generated. That is the main difference. Now these are the definition of this different type of parametric rules. These are the minimum distance decision rules, also called spectral distance, and calculate the spectral distance in between the measurement vector for the candidate pixel and the mean vector of the each signature. And again you are coming to the right side, maximum likelihood Bayesian. Maximum likelihood decision rules is based on the probability that a pixel belong to a particular class, and the basic equation assume that these probabilities are equal for all classes and that the input bands have normal distribution. So when we will go for the maximum likelihood classification, these techniques always assume that there have some distribution pattern of the pixel is normal distribution. So normal distribution means it is always coming in a bell shape. It is not coming in the left side or the right side. This type of histogram will come if you see. Okay. So that time we will go for the maximum likelihood, and this is the basic assume under the background the algorithm of this maximum likelihood classification. Again I am coming to the Bayesian classifier, where you can the probabilities are not equal for all classes here. So again it is related to the statistical formula. Okay. So the probabilities is not equal for the all classes. So based on the pixel distribution pattern that will be defined. Yes. Now these last two are very important, and these are the most updated classification technique which are currently added for the image classification. First one is spectral angle mapper and spectral correlation mapper. So until now we learned that the pixel means is the main point for classify the or grouping the pixel. Here we will able to use the spectral angle. That's why it's telling. That's why it's named as spectral angle mapper. Whatever the spectra is coming of this pixel, that will be used, and the angle difference of this spectra will be compared in between different bands and different pixels, and based on this information we will able to classify. So the accuracy of the image and the product will be generating using the spectral angle mapper. We assume that that will be better in compared to the last 3 or 4 classification techniques. and basically we are using this spectral angle mapper for the hyperspectral data classification. You should note down it. Okay, for the hyperspectral data classification, always we will go for the spectral angle mapper, and that is also known as SAM. And for the multispectral classification, we can use the maximum likelihood technique. But if you have any research paper and that is showing that the compare in between the spectral angle mapper and the maximum likelihood, but during my PhD, I have gone through this comparing these techniques using multispectral data and the hyperspectral data. I found that spectral angle mapper is always giving the highest accuracy compared to the other algorithm which we will be using for the classification. And spectral correlation mapper is the same, but here spectral angle mapper approach where each spectrum is normalized by the spectrum mean. Again there is a pixel mean, and here we will use the spectrum mean for the classification. Do you have any question about these two techniques? Anybody have any question?
You all understand everything? Then ask. If you don't understand,
smart people, huh?
you ask.
When we start asking questions from you,
Then
you all become dumb.
now sir is asking, ask if you don't understand.
Case, you
Now the session is opening for the question.
start thinking like a smart people.
Maximum likelihood, minimum distance.
Minimum distance.
Please go to the slide. These are the standard techniques. The algorithm is same. Whether you are using the ADAS Imagine or NB, these techniques will be same.
These are statistical formulas, right? So these statistical formulas are developed by the statisticians. So whatever statistics behind the formula is, it remains constant, whether you use it for classification or any other analysis.
And that's why I am asking you, you should have some prior knowledge about the classification techniques, and given a task, you should come
That is
come
what
through,
I told you to ask them about that.
come through some literature, because these are all statistical techniques. So first time when you will go through this statistical technique, मैं क्या कोई भी आपको समझा नहीं पाएगा, क्योंकि you don't have any statistical background. अगर mean क्या है आपको मालूम है? What is the mean? Somebody have any definition? Can you tell me? What is the mean? What is the median? And very nice. These are all geography student, na? So you have a paper on statistical data analysis. Now you have gone through this mean, median, mode. You have to generate some graph. Tell me, what is this? Yeah, central tendency or what? Median or mode? That is related to the statistical mean. These are the descriptive statistics. Suppose you have a data, and week wise you have collecting some data that you have taken out 14 customer on Monday and 15 customer on Tuesday and 20. So in this way, suppose you have a 10 days data, and this data you want to mean, you can say in one word, it's the average of the data. Average of the data. But some values, median means middle value, and mode means the repetition of a single value. So that will be repeatedly, suppose 15 numbers of जो कस्टमर है वो रिपीटेडली आप डूइंग दिस पीरियड, so that will be identified. So median is central tendency. So ये people आप लोगों को क्या नहीं था इसमें, स्टैटिस्टिक्स नहीं था जियोग्राफी में, था ना? तो you have some knowledge. So can you tell me the what is the standard deviation? Because whatever you are doing after generating the land use land cover product, you will able to extract the areas of these ground features, and then you will say that the spatial distribution of this ground feature is like that. So now Satyam ji would like to ask you that can you tell me what is the distribution of the forest land and what is the mean and median value areas value of this forest land across the Assam states. So when you go for the writing the or assessing or giving a assessment report, that time you have to give some report that these are the total area and this is the mean across the state, and that I think you have a project on this type of activities, and then they have to generate a project copy, and there they have to give the description of this. So you have to gone through this all techniques and the statistical information also in the later stage of this training session. So is it clear when we will go for the spectral angle mapper and the maximum or minimum likelihood classification? Spectral angle or the SAM classification is always better than the other techniques, but for the hyperspectral data analysis specifically we will use the spectral angle mapper, because in the hyperspectral data there are several bands are there. So there the band information and the spectral information will be very specific. यहाँ पे इंटरनेट है क्या? फैसिलिटीज है, मैं कनेक्ट कर सकता हूँ ना? ओके. So once we done this unsupervised and supervised classes and using the algorithm technique, then this type of image will be generated, and this you can see that this part is referred to the water bodies, and these parts are some forest land, grassland, and agricultural and urban areas. Just a minute, ये complete कर देते हैं उसके बाद. So again, based on these classes, we will be giving some color code or color values, and you can see we have given forest to green and grass to another type of green colors. You can say the deep green, and forest, dense, medium forest and sparse forest. You can also classify the forest land like that. This is the dense forest land, this is the medium forest cover, this has, and this have some forest land which is medium coverage. So using NDVI also we can classify this type of forest land, and water, deep water, shallow water. But here I want to mention there are some codes which is very standard practice. You can see that NRSC have developed some code that is very important when you will go for the classification. Suppose the first class is built up, that is the main class, but under a built up land there will be many subclasses will be there, that is urban, rural, industrial, mining, and again you have to follow this type of code, and again you can classify. If you want to elaborate this urban land, then you can go for the rule 3. There are built up, compact. Okay. So this is very important, and this rule will be followed by each and every one. Those are going for the classification technique. Suppose I am giving a task for classification and satellite data is although different, but you have to go through these techniques. So in this way we can able to generate a unique product. So whatever the classification or classes will be developed, that will be same whether doing U or C. So the classes or the classification name of these features will be same. So we have to gone through this table. You can see that for the all classes they have developed this type of key, classification key. Now I am coming to the accuracy assessment. What is the accuracy assessment? Remote sensing people, can you tell me what is the accuracy assessment?
After doing some language line cover, suppose supervised or unsupervised,
Yes,
so that whenever the
put on your mic please.
So after doing sir land use land cover mapping, so sir we are using classification supervised or unsupervised. After that, whatever that area we got, sir, after that we do one statistical analysis through the accuracy assessment. So there
No, that is okay. We will go for the statistical analysis and the accuracy assessment gone through some statistical process. But हमने ये statistical process क्यों करेंगे? कुछ तो purpose होगी ना कि हम लोग
know the
accuracy
sir-
assessment क्यों करेंगे?
So to know the accuracy of the land, suppose we have taken agriculture, suppose one area we have known about the area. So for that we have to also see the accuracy. It is related to the ground base or not, sir.
Yes. So problem is that again when you go for the classification of satellite data and that totally classification accuracy of this data totally depend on the spatial resolution, spectral reflectance and the radiometric values. I already told you that what is the advantage of radiometric values? If the radiometric values is higher, then we can able to identify or differentiate two features, although these features have the similar characteristic. Suppose यहाँ पे आपको दो तरह का ऐसे ही माइक रख दिया गया, लेकिन क्या है कि इसके चलते क्या है कि इसका सरफेस फीचर्स थोड़ा सा अलग होगा. अगर रेडियोमेट्रिक वैल्यूज हम बढ़ा देंगे तो क्या होगा कि इसका जो माइनर जो चेंजेस है उसको भी मैं आइडेंटिफाई कर सकता हूँ. सो जब सिमिलर फीचर्स मेरे पास है तो उसको आइडेंटिफाई करने के लिए सैटेलाइट डेटा को वो जो बीट वैल्यूज है ना उसको इंक्रीज करना, ताकि जो कलर शैडोज है ना वो शैडोज जो है वो और भी रेंज में आ जाए. उसमें क्या होगा, हम लोग उसको आइडेंटिफाई कर पाएंगे कि दो सिमिलर फीचर्स के बीच में भी हम लोग उसको आइडेंटिफाई कर पाएंगे, डिफरेंशिएट कर पाएंगे उसको. सो यहाँ पे क्या है, जब भी आप लीस्ट फॉर यूज करेंगे उसका क्या है बीट वैल्यूज, उसका क्या है स्पेशल रेजोल्यूशन, रेडियोमेट्रिक वैल्यूज क्या है, स्पेक्ट्रल वैल्यूज क्या है. तो क्या है कि जब आप स्पेशल रेजोल्यूशन हायर होगा वहां पे क्या होगा कि आपको डिटेल व्यू मिलेगा ग्राउंड का, तो वहां पे चांसेस क्या होगा कि आपको जो एक्यूरेसी होगा वो एक्यूरेटली क्लासिफाई होगा, क्योंकि पिक्सल ईच पिक्सल विल रिप्रेजेंट द सेम ग्राउंड वैल्यू. बट क्या होगा जब का रेजोल्यूशन लो हो जाएगा वहां पे तो क्या होगा, सम मिक्स्ड पिक्सल विल कम. आएगा कि नहीं. आप दोनों बैठे हुए हैं, मैं 30 मीटर्स में लूंगा तो क्या होगा, आप दोनों को मैं क्लासिफाई नहीं कर पाऊंगा. वहां पे आप भी है, ये तीनों एक मार्ज होके एक पिक्सल बनाएगा. सो वी आर मिसिंग सम इंफॉर्मेशन हियर. वी आर नॉट एबल टू क्लासिफाई द थ्री पीपल्स एट अ टाइम. सो वी हैव टू इंक्रीज द spatial resolution. Once we increase the spatial resolution, then we able to identify the three peoples, that there are exactly three peoples are there. So during this type of information missing, we have to go for the accuracy assessment. So in this process what we will do to verify that what has been identified and classified using the remote sensing data, whether it is accurately correct or not, and if it is the what is the percent of this correction. So using this accuracy assessment we are able to say that my land use land cover map is 80%, giving the 80% similarities in between the ground values and the map. So now your examiner can say that your map is acceptable. Now we can use this map for any type of decision, any type of making decision making, sorry. Is it clear? मेन फंडा ऑफ दिस एक्यूरेसी असेसमेंट कि आपने मैप बना लिया, आप उसको देखना है कि कितना एक्यूरेट है, तो एंड व्हाट इज द एक्यूरेसी लेवल. So what I already have discussed, that I have written in this slide. क्या क्या जो क्लासिफिकेशन ड्यूरिंग एरर्स ड्यू टू व्हाट, पढ़िए पढ़िए, कोई एक पढ़ के बताइए क्या क्या है. फ्रॉम द लेफ्ट साइड प्लीज रीड आउट दिस स्लाइड. Red t-shirt, please. Can you read out this slide? Yeah. What is the errors? Put your mic on. Put the slide on. What are the errors?
Declassify image.
Yes, you can see that the classified image contains lot of errors. And due to what? You can start with leveling cluster after the unsupervised classification.
Labeling cluster after unsupervised classification.
What does it mean?
Unsupervised.
What does it mean that leveling cluster after unsupervised classification? I already explained that when you giving or going for the unsupervised classification, we don't have any knowledge about the ground. So we are giving a number of classes and I am telling the computer, please generate a map or classify this raw satellite data in the 50 groups. So
it's mean unsupervised classification when we do not know the areas, mean the unknown area.
Yeah, definitely. We don't know the this will be an unknown area and that's why we will go for the unsupervised classification. But क्या है कि यहाँ पे जो हम लोग 36 या 50 या 100 क्लासेस बना रहे हो ना, उसको तो आपको बाद में लेवलिंग करना होगा ना. वो तो कंप्यूटर बना दिया, ग्रुप कर दिया पिक्सल को कि ये पिक्सल जो है इस क्लास में आ रहा है, ये पिक्सल जो है इस अप टू 100 क्लास बना दिया ऐसे. बट आपको वो जो पिक्सल जो ग्रुप बनाया उसको तो आपको कलर देना होगा ना, कि आपको आइडेंटिफाई करना होगा ना, ये फॉरेस्ट लैंड है, ये ग्रुप फॉरेस्ट में आ रहा है, ये वाटर बॉडीज में आ रहा है. तो उस टाइम में क्या है, कुछ लेवलिंग एरर हो सकता है आपसे. क्या लेवलिंग एरर है कि आप फॉरेस्ट को भी डाल सकता है इसमें ग्रासलैंड में, क्योंकि आपके पास कोई ग्राउंड नॉलेज है ही नहीं, है ना. तो दिस वर्ड और दिस लेवलिंग क्लस्टर आफ्टर अनसुपरवाइज्ड क्लासिफिकेशन, that is the meaning of this line. Okay, so now again preparing of training areas with wrong leveling. आप सुपरवाइज क्लासिफिकेशन में आ गए तो वहां पे हमको क्या है कि कुछ पिक्सल को हम लोग ऐसे ग्रुप करेंगे, ठीक है. तो उस टाइम में क्या होगा कि हो सकता है कि आप इन दिस वे आप वाटर बॉडीज को मार्क करने गए, लेकिन उसके साइड में भी कुछ था, कुछ ड्राई लैंड्स था या सैंड था, उसको भी एक पिक्सल उसमें घुसा दिए. तो इस तरह आपसे हो सकता है ना लेवलिंग के टाइम में एरर्स. सो उसके कारण से भी आपको कुछ एरर आ सकती है. देन नहीं प्रिपेयरिंग ऑफ ट्रेनिंग एरियाज विथ रॉन्ग लेवलिंग, ठीक है. यहां तक हम लोग कर लिए ना अभी. यहाँ पे और भी कुछ था, और एक स्लाइड्स. Okay, so this information are there. Suppose, and I already told you that in data reference system we will also use some, we already have some thematic map and that can also be used for the accuracy assessment. So here you can see that आपको एक लैंड यूज लैंड कवर आज के डेट में आप जनरेट कर रहा है, वो है क्या है 2022 and in the month of July. बट आपके पास एक मैप है जो कि वो क्या है, वो मैप आपको जनरेट किया 2020 में. सो आर यू एबल टू कोरिलेट द ग्राउंड डेटा एंड द योर मैप डेटा accurately using this map? Why not? Because landscape often change rapidly. वहाँ पे कुछ था आज, जैसे कि आपके आसाम में एक एनवायरमेंटल कुछ प्रॉब्लम हो गया, यहाँ पे मान लीजिए फ्लड हो गया, तो फ्लड के कारण से क्या होगा, कुछ जो लैंड फीचर्स था वो वॉश्ड आउट हो गया, तो इसके कारण से क्या होगा, कुछ चेंजेस तो होगा ना इमेज में, जो 2020 में था वो 2022 में नहीं होगा. So if you have some map and if you use this map as a reference image for accuracy assessment, so again you will go through some wrong information and the accuracy level will be disturbed. Therefore, it is best to collect the ground reference as close to the date of the remote sensing data acquisition as possible. इसका मीनिंग क्या है, इसीलिए हम लोग प्रीफर क्या करते हैं कि जिस डेट का हम लोग किए हैं क्लासिफिकेशन, उसी के अराउंड आगे या पीछे हम लोग एक ग्राउंड सर्वे भी कर लेंगे. ग्राउंड में जाके कुछ जीपीएस ले जाएंगे, जीपीएस ले जाके फॉरेस्ट में जाएंगे, वहाँ पे एक सैंपल ले लेंगे, हम बोलेंगे कि यहाँ पे जो भी पिक्सल उस सैटेलाइट डेटा में होगा वो फॉरेस्ट लैंड के अंडर आएगा. अगेन आई विल गो टू सम एग्रीकल्चरल फील्ड, सम वाटर बॉडी एंड अगेन वी विल कलेक्ट सम जीसीपीस, ग्राउंड कंट्रोल पॉइंट, सॉरी ग्राउंड ट्रूथ. ओके, so that will be used for accuracy assessment. Clear? Is it clear? क्या करना होगा पोस्ट क्लासिफिकेशन का एक्यूरेसी असेसमेंट करने के लिए, मैडम कैन यू टेल मी? Yes.
According to the data, we have to validate the ground truth so that we get the accurate.
Yeah. So for this ground truth collection, we have to go through the ground process. Each and every features will be collected, or the GPS point of these features we need for the accuracy assessment. Now here these are the all concept for the classification techniques and the classification error accuracy assessment, but there will be a matrix. How can we will process this data and what will be the matrix for this accuracy assessment? So again we have to go through some statistical process. Okay. So classification error matrix is very important here. And we this matrix have some rules to collect the data. To prepare an error matrix, first step is to locate ground reference test pixel or the sample collection. So we will go to the field for the sample collection, and generally it is suggested that a minimum of 50 samples of each land use land cover classes should be included. How many samples you have to collect? 50 samples for each and every class. So suppose you have a 10 class, so how many points you have to collect for the 10 class? Simple here, 10 into 50, how many? 10 into 50, 500. But when we have to classify a large area, we are going for the classification whole India. Is it possible to go through each and everywhere to collect the data? Then for the large or the numbers of land use land cover classes are more than 12, the sample should be 75 to 100. This is the accurate or standard process for any type assessment of classification map. But it is not possible to go each and everywhere. That's why we are using, sometimes we are using the Google Earth. I will show you how to do this. Okay. In ADAS Imagine, we have a nice facilities for the Google Earth connection. Exactly what you are seeing in your classification map, that pixel will be identified directly in the Google map. We have that facility. So data sampling can be done using various procedures such as random, systematic, stratified random, stratified systematic. These are the statistical rules. Random, what is the meaning of random data collection? Mathematics people can say that. Can I have some answer? What is the random? Random or systematic? Again, can you repeat?
Sir, like collecting the data, like collecting from this person. Like I select this person, so I collect. I didn't collect the same place, so I collected according to my wish.
So basically thing is that there is no unique rule for the data collection. If you want, then you can collect from here also, from here, from this side also. There is no stratified rule. But if you go for the stratified random, then it will be identified, some area will be identified, but there is no statistical rule under this area. Again you can go for the randomly. Okay. But next stratified systematic, systematic means कि हमने 50 सैंपल साइट कलेक्ट करेंगे, ईच सैंपल साइट में 5 करेंगे और उसमें जो है कि पांचों एक नॉर्थ से कलेक्ट होगा, एक ईस्ट से कलेक्ट होगा, एक सेंट्रल पॉइंट से होगा, एक वेस्ट से होगा, एक साउथ से होगा. So there will be some rule for the data collection and we have to follow the rules during the ground truth collection, and that is stratified systematic randoming, stratified systematic data sampling. So basically we are using systematic or stratified random. Yes, so whatever the lecture is given, so that is the outcome, and that we will be assessed this table for the accuracy assessment. कोई भी एक ये एक्सप्लेन कर सकता है कि एक्चुअली क्या है इस टेबल में? Sorry?
With the pixel number.
No, not the pixel number. Here pixel number process is gone. We have generated some classes. You can see that water, sand, forest. We have a land use land cover map, and these are the classes: water, sand, forest, urban, cultivated land, barren land. Okay. So now thing is that we have gone through, my classification process is done. Okay. Now we have some classes and we have also complete the random data collection, and we reached to 162 places, and we found that after classifying in the pixel 150 is water and 12 is coming under the sand. In this way, in the here you can see that nothing is come in the other classes. So that is basically known as the row total, and one is the column total, and that will be used to assess the classification matrix. So again you can see total number of classes 66, but exactly classified? No, only 56 are coming in the sand and 10 is coming under urban. So again यहाँ पे एक अच्छा थियोरी है कि सैंड हमेशा अर्बन के अंदर क्यों आता है, क्योंकि दोनों के साथ ना स्पेक्ट्रल सिमिलरिटीज जो है ना दोनों का ऑलमोस्ट सेम होता है, दोनों ही ड्राई होता है एकदम, और ड्राई फील्ड का क्या है जो एकदम पॉलिश्ड फील्ड होगा, क्या होगा, रिफ्लेक्टेंस वैल्यू हायर होगा. So there is some spectral similarities, that's why computer is unable to distinguish in between sand and urban. So some pixel is coming in the sand and some pixel of sand is coming in the urban. Again, you can see that when you going to the urban, there is nothing is come under the sand pixel, but some pixel is coming in the barren land. Again, there is some spectral similarities in between barren land and the urban. क्योंकि वहाँ पे क्या होता है कि आप देखेंगे उसमें हमेशा जब आप पल्स कलर कंपोजिट जनरेट करेंगे, जो अर्बन एरियाज वो जो सैंड है वो हमेशा एक साइन कलर में आता है, तो रिफ्लेक्टेंस जो स्पेक्ट्रल कार्व जो उसका बनेगा ना बैंड के ऊपर, वो क्या होगा, ऐसे ऐसे होगा, बट देयर इज सम स्पेक्ट्रल सिमिलरिटीज. एंड दैट्स व्हाई ड्यूरिंग सैम का क्लासिफिकेशन टेक्निक्स वो क्या करता है, वो एंड मेंबर को आइडेंटिफाई करता है, प्योर पिक्सल, दैट इज पिक्सल प्योरिटी इंडेक्स, PPI. You should note down it. सैम क्लासिफिकेशन के टाइम में वो क्या करता है, एक प्योर पिक्सल का स्पेक्ट्रल सिग्नेचर को वो यूज करता है रेफरेंस के लिए.
This water classification is not exact, right? This is just a classification, 150 numbers of water bodies.
No. Water is exactly classified 150 num. I have taken 160 ground reference, and among these 150 is coming in the water bodies, but 12 is not coming. So it's a error, na?
Yeah.
PPI, Pixel Purity Index. मतलब कि प्योर पिक्सल को वो आइडेंटिफाई करते हैं. जितने भी बैंड्स होगा उसमें से वो एक एक बैंड को पास करके एक 3 डायमेंशन फिगर बनाएगा. ठीक है, उसमें से क्या है कि वाटर का जो एकदम (78) is correct. Correctly is coming. You have your imagery is able to classify these ground features correctly only for the 78 pixels. Yeah, you have taken. आप ग्राउंड में जो देख के आए हैं 110 में ही आपका कल्टीवेटेड लैंड है, बस आप जब फिगर में आप जो क्लासीफाई की है उसमें देख रहा है कि 78 ही आ रहा है, बाकी 32 है कि डिफरेंस क्लास में आ रहा है ना. सो अभी क्या करना है, अभी हमें इस तरह हमने ग्राउंड ट्रूथ कलेक्शन कर लिए. दिस टेबल इज रिप्रेजेंटिंग द ग्राउंड ट्रूथ नंबर. सो टोटल हाउ मेनी पिक्सल इज करेक्टली कमिंग, सो दैट इज द summation of this diagonal values. Am I right? 150, 156 आप जोड़ लो मोबाइल में कैलकुलेट करके, वो 785 है. आप चेक कर लो इसको, देखो वो, क्योंकि नेक्स्ट कैलकुलेशन उसी में आएंगे ना. डायगोनल इज द एग्जैक्ट, आपका मैप पे जो पिक्सल अभी हम आइडेंटिफाई किए है कितना एग्जैक्ट है. हमने 162 कलेक्ट की है, 150 वाटर एग्जैक्टली. एग्जैक्ट पिक्सल वैल्यू इन ए डायगोनल वे, दैट्स व्हाई वी टेकिंग द डायगोनल. One 15. Yes, after that you can see the only the coming the total values na table में, row total and the ground total. 7 ये 655 आया है ये सारे जोड़ने के बाद फिर से एक बार प्रोसेस कीजिए देखिए हाँ एनीवे वो 665 है ना हाँ 665 है ना 55 एंड इसका क्या टोटल है $785 ओके और नीचे कॉलम टोटल क्या है अभी $785 यस शो क्या है कि यहाँ पे क्या है ये है कॉलम टोटल जो है ये है और रो टोटल जो है 785 तो 785 जो इंक्लूडेड है ये टोटल नंबर मेरा सैंपल्स है आई एम कमिंग 785 क्या है कि ये टोटल नंबर मेरा सैंपल्स हो गया है ना अभी क्या आप रो टोटल ये डायगोनल टोटल बनाए सो 655 क्या है कि आउट ऑफ 785 658 हमने क्या किया है एग्जैक्टली क्लासिफाई किए हैं अब आपकी एक्यूरेसी आपके हाथ में है कितना परसेंटेज है आप निकालिए सो डायगोनल वैल्यू हियर इट्स नॉट रिप्रेजेंटिंग बट व्हेन वी कम टू द ओवरऑल एक्यूरेसी कैलकुलेशन then the diagonal value is important this value is not given in the total form this is the total sample collection values 785 this include all commission and omission error so when I coming to the right hand part of the table you can see there are some omission error commission error and the producer accuracy and the user accuracy what does it mean omission error means omit something and commission means you have taken some commission so exactly here you can see that in case of forest they are taking commission from cultivated land 17 pixel is commissioned by the cultivated land am I right and how many omitted 25 is omitted so this is also a part of your error matrix calculation somebody will ask you please tell me the omission error of the forest land and the commission error of the forest land so you can take this pixel number 25 divided by 155 this should be the in general we can say that this should be the column total and the this side is row total so commission error representing the what कमीशन एरर क्या रिप्रेजेंट कर रहा है यहाँ पे कॉलम टोटल को कर रहा है कौन सा रो टोटल को कर रहा है ना ये जो एरर है गाइस कौन सा इसको रिप्रेजेंट कर रहा है सिंपल है आप लोग इसको इवैल्यूएट कर सकते हैं सारी चीज वहां पे ही है टेबल में है रो टोटल ना अच्छा और प्रोड्यूसर एक्यूरेसी कॉलम टोटल यू आर राइट करेक्ट सो आप लोग इसको समझ गए कि कैसे मतलब किसको ओमिशन एरर बोल रहा है किसको कमीशन एरर बोल रहा है अब हमने जो इसको कैलकुलेट किया है तो आप बोलेंगे सर आप क्यों कैलकुलेट करवाए इसका क्या मतलब कि इसमें कंट्रीब्यूशन है फालतू में मेरा टाइम बर्बाद कर दिया बट इट हैज हियर यू कैन सी नाउ वी आर कमिंग टू द ओवरऑल एक्यूरेसी and you can see these pixels are total in the now you can calculate here now the exact figure will come 656 what how much what is the number 655 so out of 785 we are able to 655 are correctly classified Now the overall accuracy of this map, you can say, when you go for writing or you are preparing a manuscript, you have to publish, or you are going for the generating some report on land use land cover map. That time you have to give this summary error matrix table. You have to put your error matrix table in your report, and in this way you have to prepare your error matrix table. So whatever the land use and land cover map we have generated, what is the exact accuracy of this map now? 83%. So again we are lag behind 17%. So it is never in 100%. It is not possible. Accuracy जो है कितना होने से आप मानेंगे? आप लोगों की तरफ से कितना होना चाहिए? 95. But above it is good. Above it is good. Again, we have some matrix that is kappa coefficient. So that is the standard matrix that is used in throughout the world for the accuracy assessment of any kind of land use land cover map. कौन सा? हेडस में आपको कुछ नहीं करना है, आपको कुछ हेडेक नहीं लेना है इसमें कि हमको इतना कुछ करना होगा. जो भी हम लोग कर रहे हैं ना, ये हम 5 मिनट में रिपोर्ट जनरेट कर लेंगे यूजिंग द हेडस. जब आप पब्लिश करेंगे ना, इस टाइप ऑफ आपको लिखना पड़ेगा कि आप कौन सा सॉफ्टवेयर यूज करके किया है, किस डेट में की है, ठीक है, उसमें कौन सा टेक्निक यूज की है, सारी चीज आपको बताना होगा. Kappa. So Kappa is responsible for developing these techniques. That's why this is the Kappa statistics. If you develop some techniques, then your name will come to there. So Kappa is a discrete multivariate method of use accuracy assessment in classification process, where pixels are randomly assigned to classes will produce a percentage correct value. So there is always a random chance that we think that whatever we done and that is exactly correct. हम लोग क्या सोचेंगे, हमने जो 785 जो पॉइंट्स लिए है वो क्या एग्जैक्ट होना चाहिए, मेरा एक्सपेक्टेशन तो यही रहेगा कि मेरा जो मैप जनरेट किया वो एग्जैक्ट है. बट इज इट पॉसिबल? It is not possible. It is not happening exactly, and that's why we have some error, and this error can be evaluated using this kappa coefficient. What is the formula? Total accuracy minus the random accuracy and 1 minus the random accuracy. So in the next slide I have explained, and this is the exact formula. This is the exact formula. So here R is the number of the rows in the error matrix. Again this is related to this table. Here you can see that again this, because the number of rows in the error matrix, you have to taken the input from this table only. Number of observation in the row, total number of I representing and the column representing, total of observation in row and total of observation in column, and total number of observation included in the matrix total. How many? 785. So using that you can see this has been calculated. This is total 655, and here whatever 162 column and row value, ऑब्जर्वेशन एंड रो एंड कॉलम कितना नंबर है, एक साइड में 150 162 था वाटर का, एंड इसमें रो टोटल कितना आया था 150. सो 162 into 150, अगेन वी हैव टू जनरेट लाइक दैट, दिस वैल्यू विल कम, at the end, and using this formula you can generate 0.80. Now the value kappa coefficient always coming within the 1, highest value should be 1, okay. So the percentage, now the value is 0.80, what does it mean? There is a random chance for classification that you can, now you can say that 80% of your image is accurately classified based on the kappa coefficient. Am I right? So this is the standard formula, and we have to use this during our report preparation, and everybody will ask you when you going through some land use, land cover map or report preparation, definitely they will ask you, please mention your kappa statistics value, and then you have to say that 0.880, and then again they will ask you what does it mean, then you can say that, sir, 80% of this image is accurately classified. I think I have missed out one slide. So is it okay? Thank you. So आप पूछ रहे थे कि सर कितना परसेंटेज एक्सेप्टेबल है. अगर कप्पा कोएफिशिएंट वैल्यू 0.5 से अबव है, 0.6 से अबव है, देन इट इज ओके, और ओवरऑल एक्यूरेसी जो है वो आपको ग्रेटर देन 80 होना चाहिए. तब आपका लैंड यूज लैंड कवर मैप है कि वो आपको सेकेंड टाइम ग्राउंड एज पर ग्राउंड ट्रूथ आपको सेकेंड टाइम रिक्लासिफिकेशन के लिए नहीं जाना है. अगर अदरवाइज यू कैन अगेन, जो पिक्सल आपको नहीं आया है उसमें, तो आपके पास तो ग्राउंड ट्रूथ है ना कि आउट ऑफ 168, 155 is coming accurately and 13 is not coming, and then you already identified this 13, so you can put them and drag to in the correct class, then you will be somewhere in near the 100%. So in this way you can also improve the classification accuracy level. So we always also have the post classification, post accuracy, मतलब अब फील्ड से आने के बाद भी हमारा जॉब है. हमने जो देख लिए कि ये पिक्सल एग्जैक्टली वाटर में आना चाहिए, नहीं आया, तो हमने क्या करेंगे, उस लैंड यूज लैंड कवर मैप को अगेन हम लोग क्या करेंगे, एडिट कर देंगे. एडिट करके क्या करेंगे, जो पिक्सल नहीं आ रहा था उसको उसमें डाल देंगे, तो वी विल बी समवेयर नियर टू द 100% एक्यूरेसी लेवल. Am I right? Now the session is opening for questions. If you have any question, then you can ask, and otherwise we will go for the practical session to this room.
For the land survey, that is primary survey, then we can collect the land cover area, and then we can do by hand also, no, without using the RDAS imaging.
RDAS imaging क्या करेंगे, हम एक रैंडम ये बना के कुछ ग्राउंड पॉइंट उसके ऊपर जो लैंड यूज लैंड कवर मैप है उसके ऊपर सुपर इम्पोस्ट कर लेंगे. एक प्रिंट आउट ले लेंगे. प्रिंट आउट लेने के बाद क्या करेंगे, उस पिक्सल को लेके हम फील्ड में चला जाएंगे, तो हमें उस जगह का एक लैटिट्यूडिनल एंड लॉन्गिट्यूडिनल वैल्यू मिल जाएगा. वहाँ पे जाके हम एग्जैक्टली फील्ड में जाएंगे, वहाँ पे हमारा जीपीएस प्लेस करेंगे और देखेंगे कि वहाँ पे वाटर है कि वाटर की जगह और कुछ है. तो इसके हिसाब से हम बोलेंगे ये जो हम क्लासिफाई ये रॉन्ग है, इट्स कमिंग टू द सैंड. नोट कर लेंगे हम नोटबुक में. देन अगेन आई विल कम बैक टू लैब, एंड बेस्ड ऑन योर जीसीपी ग्राउंड ट्रूथ कलेक्शन वी विल बी करेक्ट द इमेज अकॉर्डिंगली.
I have a question. In that matrix error, you took the sum of the diagonal values to calculate the overall accuracy.
Yes.
So, in place of that, we have the accuracy for each part. So, why cannot we take the mean of the all of the accuracies?
एक्चुअली यहाँ पे आप मीन लेके क्या करेंगे?
See, we have the accuracy also.
आपके पास मैं एग्जैक्ट नंबर बता रहा हूँ तो आप मीन क्यों लेंगे? जहाँ पे हमें एग्जैक्ट नंबर मालूम नहीं है वहाँ पे हम मीन लेने का कोशिश करेंगे ना.
No. My question is different. Means we calculate the overall accuracy. So what you did that you took the sum of the diagonal values.
No.
and the
Just
total-
I want to clear your concept about the diagonal value. Why we are taking the diagonal values? Actually, these diagonal values are exact pixel what you are able to classify it on the map. एग्जैक्ट पिक्सल जो ग्राउंड रेफरेंस के साथ आपका मैप के साथ मिल जा रहा है, तो आप हम उसका मीन लेके क्या करेंगे? हमारे पास 785 है पिक्सल टोटल, उसमें से टोटल ही लेंगे ना. अगर आप उसका मीन लेंगे तो कितना हो जाएगा? हाउ मच दैट विल कम?
Okay. So in your plot, yeah, no, my calculation.
इट इज ओके ना
Yeah.
कि वहां पे अगर मीन लेंगे तो क्या होगा? डायल्यूट हो जाएगा वहां पे.
Yeah, that will be diluted.
हो जाएगा ना. कुछ इन्फॉर्मेशन क्या होगा वो स्टैंडर्ड, तब आपको क्या है 785 का भी मीन लेना पड़ेगा.
Yeah.
अगर आप मीन के ऊपर ही जाएंगे तो दोनों का मीन लेंगे अगर स्टैंडर्ड करेंगे तो उसको, और नहीं तो हम टोटल रॉ नंबर में ही जाएंगे. इट इज ओके ना.
Yeah.
So thank you everyone. Again I am asking that if you have any question you can clear here, otherwise when we will go to the lab I will not help you there. कौन सा चार्ट है? प्लीज कास्ट माई स्लाइड्स हियर. अच्छा वो है ना. Put on your mic and ask the question loudly so that others people also can, because they are not asking any question and I am not happy with their this type of appearance during the training. You should come with some question, otherwise I will not able to understand whether you are learning or some things is eliminating during my presentation, because you are coming here for learning. Am I right? So if you not develop any knowledge after this presentation, so my efforts and your money and your time be no meaning is there. Definitely you will get. And I seen that somebody has written their email ID is very, it is not I am not able to read out. So I'd like to request you, please write your email ID in only the block letters so that I can able to identify, because if I want to send some materials after this training, that you are not able to get the email from me. And I also like to ask you to give your remark here for the day 2. This is day 1. You can write here day 1 remark, and after the whole training day 2. Okay. Yeah, here write day 1, and next you can write here day 2. Okay. And somebody has not given their remark, so this should not be blank. Hand over to them who has not given their remark. प्लीज वो स्लाइड को कास्ट कर दीजिए ना. हाँ, यहाँ पे आप कब यूज करेंगे इस टेबल को, दैट इज योर क्वेश्चन ना. यहाँ पे क्या है, हम जब क्लासिफिकेशन करने जा रहे हैं, हमारे पास क्लास हम जनरेट कर रहे हैं, सुपरवाइज क्लासिफिकेशन करेंगे, वहां पे तो हम सिग्नेचर कलेक्ट करेंगे ना. Now you can see that we are identifying that area is water, and we are adding using this tool. You can see that water. This time we will follow this rule. Here water, So water 1, water 2, water 3. So that time we will exactly give the, this is shallow water and this is the deep water body. Okay. After generating the classification, now you have to add extra column for this classification key values, that is coming in the classification level 1.1. So if you found anything in the broader sense, these all classes are coming under built up area, but in your image you found some area that is industrial, and again under the industrial that is some cooling pond, है ना, wasteland. So you have to give and put your comment. There should be another column where you can write that this is exactly this field and this is broadly coming in the built up area. Yes, this land use code you have to use, because when you putting your map in a database, database will go through the code, and that's why we will put some codes, and this is the standard key. These are the standard. No, that's why we generating this table. If you found this in, you put your code, this one. So somebody is sitting there in America. So if I send them this number, he exactly understand that you want to telling about this. Okay? Is it okay? Clear? Thank you. So we have the. हम लोग मूव करते हैं उस रूम पे. Sorry? Yeah, definitely.